Now, after understanding everything about first order reaction, let us move with the next reaction, that is zero order reaction. Now, first and foremost, what do we understand by zero order reaction? The rate of zero order reaction is independent of the reactant concentration. As it is independent of the reactant concentration, means the rate is equals to K into concentration of A raised to the power 0. As it is 0, it is independent, and that is why we mentioned zero order reaction. Okay, so that is what we understand by zero order reaction. Those reactions where the reaction's rate is independent on the reactant concentration are known as zero order reaction. After understanding what is meant by zero order reaction, let us derive integrated rate law for zero order reaction. For this, let us consider a zero order reaction as A giving us P, that is product. Now for this given reaction, the differential rate law is given by, first according to the definition of rate of reaction, it will be minus change in concentration of A upon change in time. Next, according to rate law, rate is equals to K concentration of A raised to the power 0, because it is zero order reaction. So anything raised to the power 0 is 1. So simply rate is equals to K. Now this given equation, we just do a rearrangement, giving us change in concentration of A is equals to minus K dt. Change in concentration of A is equals to minus K into dt. Now this given equation, we are going to do an integration. So to this equation, when we have to apply integration, the integration we apply of course between the limits, where concentration of A is written as A naught at time t equals to 0. Next, concentration of A will be written as AT at time t. So the two limits is 0 and t, that is nothing but A naught and AT. So the left hand part, change in concentration of A is integrated between the limits A naught to AT is equals to minus K is kept out because it is constant. Integration of change in time between the time limit 0 to t. So to this, if we apply integration, we simply get concentration of AT minus concentration of A naught is equals to minus KT. This given equation, if we rearrange a bit, we will get KT is equals to A naught minus AT. Okay, so further rearrangement gives us K is equals to A naught minus AT upon T. This is our integrated rate law equation for zero order reaction. So the equation 1 gives integrated rate law for zero order reaction. That is K is equals to concentration of A at time 0 minus concentration of A at time t upon time t. After knowing the integrated rate law equation for zero order reaction, let us see what will be the unit of our rate constant. As I mentioned, rate constant unit will change depending upon the order of the reaction. Previously, we have just derived a unit for rate constant of first order reaction, where the rate constant of first order reaction is nothing but inverse of time. Whereas for zero order reaction, we make use of our integrated rate law equation, that is change in concentration of A at time 0 minus change in concentration of A at time t upon t. So concentration is in the terms mole per dm cube, or it can also be in the terms of molar upon time. So that is per time, which can be per second, per hour, per minute, per year, per month and so on. So the unit of rate constant for zero order reaction will be mole per dm cube per time, or it can be molar, that is molar per time. So the very important point is the unit of rate constant of zero order reaction are same as that of rate. Why is it same as that of rate? Because zero order reaction is independent of the concentration of reactant. So rate is equals to K, means whatever is the unit of rate, same will be the unit of our rate constant. The next thing we need to know is to find out half-life of zero order reaction. I have already mentioned what do we understand by the term half-life. It is the time required for the reactant concentration to reduce to half of its initial value. So T half we write it as. Now we have to find out T half value for zero order reaction. For that we take help of our integrated rate law equation for zero order reaction, which we just derived as K is equals to A naught minus AT upon T. Now in this given equation we write our T as T half and we write our AT as A naught upon 2, that is half of its initial concentration. So if we just substitute this two part in our equation 1, then our equation 1 will become as K is equals to A naught minus A naught upon 2 the whole upon T half. If we rearrange the equation, we will get K is equals to A naught upon 2 T half. That is nothing but T half taking on left hand part, K taking on right hand part. We get T half is equals to A naught upon 2K. This will be our half-life equation for zero order reaction. So from the given equation we could correlate that the half-life of zero order reaction is proportional to the initial concentration of reactant. Whereas when we have written half-life for our first order reaction, the value, the equation was T half is equals to 0.693 upon K, where we have said that our T half for first order reaction is independent of the concentration of reactant. Here please remember the two very important points. First order reaction's rate is dependent on the concentration of reactant, whereas its T half is independent of the concentration of reactant. Exactly reverse we have in zero order reaction. In zero order reaction, rate is independent of its concentration of reactant, whereas T half is dependent on its concentration of reactant. These are the very two important points which are contradictory with respect to first order and zero order reaction. After understanding the definition of zero order reaction, the integrated rate law equation for zero order reaction and the half-life of zero order reaction, the next part comes is the graphical representation of zero order reaction. In this we have two graphs to explain. For the first graph we make use of our integrated rate law equation which we have derived especially for zero order. The law says K is equals to concentration of A at 0 time minus concentration of A at T times upon T. If this given equation be rearranged, we get concentration of A at time T is equals to minus KT plus concentration of A at time 0. This given equation we write in the form of straight line, that is y is equals to mx plus c. So we could see that our y-axis is correlating with concentration of A at time t, x-axis is correlating with time. So the given equation should be straight line, but both of them, your axis coordinates, are inversely proportional to each other and with the intercept value. So this given equation tells us that the nature of graph will be, this would be our nature of graph, where our y-axis is concentration of A at time t, x-axis is time. Then we find that they are inversely proportional to each other. So the graph will be straight line, but it will be a declining line, and our y-intercept will nothing but give us concentration of A at time 0. If we find out the slope value will be equal to minus k. So this is the first graph of AT versus time. Many a times they also ask us this in the form of MCQ, where they give us the axis and ask us what will be the nature of graph or what will be the slope. So remember that given axis we have to correlate with our straight line equation, which will help us to tell the nature of the graph, that is, will it be inclining, declining, and next it will be helping us to know what will be the intercept and what will be the slope of the graph. The second graph we have, that is for half-life of zero order reaction. Now our half-life formulas come as T half is equals to A naught upon 2K. This given equation we write down in the form of our straight line equation, y is equals to mx plus c. So you could see our y-axis is half-life, your x-axis is nothing but A naught, and in this our intercept value comes to be 0. Means we will be having a straight line passing through origin, and the slope of the line will be nothing but 1 upon 2K. So the relation between half-life and initial concentration is directly proportional. Means it will be inclining, passing through origin, and the graph nature will give us slope value as 1 upon 2K. So this is the second graph we can write down for zero order reaction. The next thing we have to see, that is the examples of zero order reaction. The first example we have, that is decomposition of ammonia NH3 on platinum plate. Means it is nothing but catalytic decomposition of ammonia. When we do decomposition of ammonia, the reaction is written as 2 moles of ammonia gas on platinum at a temperature of 1130 Kelvin gives us 1 mole of nitrogen gas and 3 moles of hydrogen gas. This given reactions experimentally determined rate law tells us that rate is equals to K, concentration of ammonia, it is independent. So it is raised to the power 0. Means this whole part comes to be 1. So our rate remains constant, independent of the concentration of ammonia, and that is why we can say this as an example of zero order reaction. The next example we have, that is decomposition of nitrous oxide in presence of platinum catalyst. So this is again catalytic decomposition. Nitrous oxide on decomposition gives us this reaction, that is 2 moles of nitrous oxide in platinum presence, giving us 2 moles of nitrogen and 1 mole of oxygen. For this given reaction, the experimentally determined rate law is rate is equals to K into concentration of N2O raised to the power 0. Means it is again independent of our concentration for nitrous oxide. So rate is equals to K, that is constant. As it is independent on the concentration of our reactant, this is again an example of zero order reaction. The third example we can say is the catalytic decomposition of PH3 on presence of hot tungsten at a high temperature. So in general, the decomposition which happens to be in presence of catalyst, that is catalytic decomposition, are those reactions whose rate is independent of the concentration of the reactant. Means they are examples of zero order reaction. So for zero order reaction we have done all those things as we have done for first order reaction, starting with the definition, writing the integrated rate law equation, calculating its T half, finding out its graphical representation, and then finally with the examples.